this session, we'll explore the AI Gateway capabilities in AWS Bijira. Bijira now supports both Ingress and Egress API creation. For Egress APIs, you can either use the import API flow to bring any third-party services, or you can switch to browse APIs to discover existing Egress APIs and quickly create new ones from the ready-made templates. So among these, you will also find the option to create AI APIs. An AI API allows you to connect with leading AI service providers that best fit your use case. Currently, Bijira supports AWS Bedrock API, Azure OpenAI, Anthropic Claude, and Mistral AI, and the OpenAI. AI APIs in Bijira comes with advanced features such as token-based rate limiting, AI guardrail policies, and semantic caching. In this session, we'll walk through creating an AI API, then configuring token-based rate limit, content safety, and PII masking to ensure secure and responsible AI usage. For this demo, I'll be using an OpenAI AI API and create the API using OpenAI API definition. Here, I will be providing a name, a context, and the base path, and the description of the AI API, and the OpenAI endpoint URL. And then I will be creating an AI API by using that definition. Once the AI API is successfully created and deployed, you will see in the overview section of the AI API, the deployment status and the API specification, where all the AI API's resources are listed, and you will see all the other environments as well, whether this API needs to get promoted to production or all the other subscription plans and the documents related to AI API. So first, what we need to do is configure the API key of the OpenAI API. For this, we need to navigate to Develop Policy section, and then we need to go to the Service Contract Endpoint Configuration section and click on the Endpoint Configure section in order to provide the API key header and the API key values. After providing the API key header value and the API key value, we need to click Save in order to save the API. Once it got saved successfully, you need to go to the Deploy section in order to deploy that new changes to the gateway. Here, we have the option of build area and the development environment and the production environment. So currently, my AI API is in the development stage. So I'll be deploying these latest changes with the API key values into the development environment. So once the API gets successfully deployed, we can invoke and test the API invocation by going to the test console and create an access test key and invoke the API. So first we will get the test key, and then we will navigate to the chat completion resource where we can have conversations with the AI API, and we will try out a sample curl. So in this request, I will be asking to use the GPT-4o mini model, and as the user, I am asking the AI API to write a haiku that explains the concept of recursion. Now you will see a successful response coming from the OpenAI AI API, and it has to contain as follows. It has the usage values as from tokens and completion tokens and the total tokens, which get utilized by this request. So next, what we will do is we will try to limit the usage based on these from tokens and completion tokens and the total tokens count. For this, we will navigate to again to Develop Policy section, and now what we are going to apply is an API level policy. To apply an API level policy, we need to go to the API proxy contract section and go to the settings and API level policies. In here, you can see attach mediation policies. This is for the request row. Once you click that, you will see what are the available API level policies. In here, you can select the token-based rate limit policy and configure the relevant values. So I'll be providing some sample values. For max prompt token and max completion token and max total token, and it will be configured per minute as well. So we have the options to configure per hours and per day as well. So once we configure the API level token based rate limit policy, we can click add, and we need to save the API in order to apply the changes to the API. Then we again need to deploy that API into the gateway. We need to navigate to the deploy section and then click deploy. So once the API is getting deployed, we can again go back to the test console and try to invoke the API. In here, we will be using the same write a hi tool that explains the concept of recursion request payload, and we'll execute the payload. And in this request, you will get the prompt tokens and total tokens and those usages. So once we execute this couple of times, based on the remaining token counts, this request will get rate limited. Now the request has rate limited as for code 429 and error too many requests. Next, we will see how to apply a content safety policy for this AI APIs. We will again go to the develop policy section and then navigate to the specific source level policy section. So I'll be navigating to the chat completion resource and then click the resource level mediation policies at configuration menu. And then in the request flow, we can attach any mediation policies. As you can see, there are multiple AI guardrail policies that we have implemented in Bijira. We have AWS Bedrock guardrail, Azure content safety guardrail, content length guardrail, and PII masking guardrails, PS masking regex, and regex guardrail, semantic caching, sentence count guardrail, and URL guardrail, word count guardrail. So all these AI guardrails are available in Bijira AI APIs. So in this session, we'll use Azure content safety content moderation guardrail and try to moderate the request payload based on the content safety mechanisms. So I will be providing a sample name for this guardrail, and then I'll be using an Azure content safety endpoint value and then the Azure content safety, and I will be configuring the severity level and all the other relevant severity levels. JSON Spark is to configure the place where in the request payload the content needs to get from moderation. And I'll be taking the show guardrail assessment in order to show which of the severity level has hit when we invoke the AI API. Now once all these are configured, we can click add button in order to apply the mediation policy and click save to apply it to the AI API. Once done that, we need to again deploy that AI API to the gateway. So once the AI API is now again redeployed to the AI gateway, we can go to the test console and try to invoke the AI API with the request payload, the harmful content like I need to buy guns. And let's see how the API behaves. As you can see, now the Bijira AI Gateway has responded with the 446 error code with guardrail intervened, and it violates the Azure content safety moderation, and the categories which we have configured in the API policy. For sexual content, it has passed, self-harm also passed. For the violence, it has failed the guardrail, and that's why the guardrail has successfully invoked. Next, I'll be demonstrating how to add the PII masking AI guardrail policy. So for that, we need to navigate to the specific resource chat completion, and then add the resource level, go to the resource level mediation policies, and then in the request flow, we need to click the attached mediation policies and check for the PII masking guardrails AI. So in this guardrail, we need to provide the sample name, PII masking, And for the PII entities, for this demo, I'll be using the URL as a PII entity and the email. And then we just need to click add and save the API. And then we need to again go to the deploy and redeploy the API. So once the API has redeployed, we can go to the test console and try out the scenario. We go to the chat completions, try out menu. So in this content, we have prepare an email with my contact information, email by providing a proper email, and a website. So by utilizing the PII masking guardrail policy, we will be not sending this information to the AI API. As you can see, the AI API response does not contain the email address or the URL of the website. It does have the redact values that we have sent to the AI API. So that's all for this session. Thank you.